How to discover the true self? Where is my true self? Am I acting this way because of my past? Or because I being myself? And I didn't know the difference. I was trying to I was seeking for the answer to this question, searching, craving, trying to understand why I did this thing, because I really wanted to do this thing, or because, of my past experiences. I come to the conclusion that the real self appears in action. And people say it's hard to be yourself. People say that it's really hard in a modern world, it's really hard and dangerous to be yourself. Of course it is. You feel an external pressure, an internal too. It's harder to be the false you, the false self. It's harder because your psyche needs to pretend. I believe that people hid themselves behind false selves. Selves that were shaped by years of pain. Shame also. All these negative emotions that made us realize that it's not safe to be who I am. And that's why I have to create this false self in order to survive in this world. Which is really painful though. And I was rewatching Matrix. I didn't know that I will find out this. But Neo realized who he actually are and that he is a chosen one when he deals with choice. The scene when he goes to the Oracle for the first time and he saw this quote in there's like a door or something that like temet noske, know thyself. From that point, that is really important thing in that movie, because that quote it's so important. And the Oracle talks and like they having this conversation, but I feel like the most important thing in this conversation for me was she is telling him what he believes in. She tells him like, I don't think you're the one. I don't think you being yourself right now. I don't think that you being your true self right now, Neo. That's why I'm saying, yeah, I don't think. Maybe in another lifetime, she said. She said, maybe you wait for another life. For being yourself, actually. And then she said, after that, she gave them choice. She said, there will be your life and there will be the life of Morpheus. And you have to choose which one you will save. And that's when his true self appears in a choice, in action. When he decided that he rather save Morpheus than himself. And it's not about everyone to be this kind of self-sacrifice. No, I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about specifically Neo and who he was inside of himself, his true self. And he knew that no matter what, he will choose Morpheus' life over his. Because it's his inner voice telling him, I will do that. And that's my thing that I realized, that your true self appears on that critical situation in your life. When the Oracle said, saying, you wait, I don't know, maybe you wait for another life. And after that, she puts him in a critical situation where he doesn't have a choice but to be himself. Because if he will choose to save him, he will be no Neo. There will be no Neo. There will be Mr. Anderson, because Mr. Anderson is his full self. You know what I'm saying? It's the sense of self that is not him. It was created by fear, by the system, call it the way you want, by the people around him to survive. The favorite part of the movie. Because she puts him in a critical situation that a lot of people don't deal with, because we recognize ourselves in this critical moment of choice. And after that thing, after he saved Morpheus, I will rather save his life than mine. Because that's me, that's in my core, that's how I act. And when he goes to this path, eventually he becomes the one. He becomes the person that we know. No matter how many knowledge you have about yourself, no matter how deep you know yourself, no matter how deep you search and, name each mask, name each character, no matter how, all this thing, no matter how deep you know that, without an action, without real action, it will be nothing. Only in action you can prove to your psyche that that's enough. I don't want this false self to be in my life anymore. That's enough. In this action, I'm proving to my psyche that I decided to go through life to that knowing that I know who I am and I will act the way I want to act deep in my core. Oh, thanks for watching.